of baseball.
At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. Tonight's game is presented by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, dedicated to advancing cancer research, treatment, and care. More science, less fear. By the State Farm agent of the game, David Gonzalez of Brooklyn. Contact David at myagentisdavid.com. By the all-new 2017 Hyundai Elantra, it's not just new, it's better. By Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. And by Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. Well, the Mets are right in the midst of a wild card race, but what's the one topic on every Mets fan's mind? Jay Bruce. What's on his mind? Took some ground balls at first base today. Maybe that'll change the equation. But what the Mets really need is for Jay Bruce to get back in the batter's box and be Jay Bruce. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets close out a three-game series against the Atlanta Braves. The Braves have taken the first two. The Mets started the day in a three-way tie for the two wild-card spots. The Cardinals lost this afternoon. But the subject in every Met fan's mind is Jay Bruce. He was pinch hit for last night. He's out of the lineup today. The National League RBI leader at the time of his acquisition has just 11 RBIs in 40 games as a Met. And after having been pinch hit for last night and benched today, what happens from here?
You know, I'll tell you, I've thought long and hard about this for 20 hours since last night when we're on the air. I understand the move that Terry Collins made because of his numbers against left-handers and, of course, how he struggled. I went back a long time ago, and in 1990, Julio Valera was a young right-handed pitcher, and they decided in the heat of the pennant race that he was going to replace one of the starting pitchers for the Mets. That was me. And I remember that night saying to myself, am I that bad? And maybe the question is, I was that bad then. Jay Bruce is that bad right now. I don't know where his future is going to be in the next 11 games.
Well, the Mets have 10 games after tonight. 10 games for Jay Bruce to be either in the lineup or out of the lineup.
Well, this is a very tough call for Terry Collins. It was a tough call last night. I thought he was going to pinch hit for him, and he did. I thought he was going to be in the lineup tonight. He's not. So that is something that's profound right there. So where Terry's going to go from this? I mean, his other options are Diaz tonight in center field or Conforto. He's going to go with the hot hand. 11 games left. They've given him a long time here. They need some offense. They haven't been hitting.
Going for Diaz tonight for defense behind Bartolo Colon, who will try to avoid the Mets getting swept by the Braves.
Well, he has been the one constant all season long. He's a guy that you can count on to make all of his starts. 14 wins, going for 15. 13 times he has won 14 games or more in his career, and going for a win 233.
And young right-hander Ryan Weber will make just his second start of the year for the Braves.
Advantage Mets. Weber is a guy that does not have overpowering stuff. He's got to be perfect on the corners to have a good game. Let's see if the Mets can get the bats going.
Mets saw him in relief back in April, beat him up pretty badly. They'll try and do again tonight to avoid a sweep. It's the Mets and the Braves from Citi Field. All the action on SNY. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Go to mskcc.org to learn more. Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, more science, less fear. Be here at Citi Field this Saturday for Fan Appreciation Weekend when the Mets take on the Phillies at 7:10. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Mets fleece blanket courtesy of the Northwest Company. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. We're banking. We're banking. Mets are banking on Bartolo Colon tonight to get him a win against the Braves. First pitch from Citi Field is coming right up. Thought Barry White was going to break into song any moment there. What a great soundtrack.
In the old school, you could do the dual headphone technique with that. I'm telling you, it was a winner.
Put on my velvet smoking jacket.
Well, Bartolo has been a stopper in the true sense of the word this year. When the Mets have needed a win, he has been there to get them a win. Braves will put out the same starting 8 as they did the first 2 games of the series. Why not? They've scored 12 runs in the first 2 games. Their lineup brought to you by Hyundai. Ender and Ciarte ready to lead it off. Colon's first pitch is in for a strike, and we're underway.
Well, you know his numbers, you know his record. 14 wins, 7 losses, great ERA, 3.14. He's pitched over 3,000 innings, over 2,000 strikeouts.
And Ciarte pops it up as Dribble Cabrera waits for it to come down, and that's the first out of the night.
And your Metropolitan defense, the big top of the show here. We talked about Diaz in center field. Bruce is on the bench for tonight at least. Rivera in the lineup as usual. He has earned it, and Rivera and Darno just, oh, look at that. I'll have to interrupt Rene Rivera for that.
Such a gorgeous shot.
Wow.
It almost doesn't look real.
Yeah, right.
But our director, Dan Barr, promises us it is. Just spectacular.
Oh, makes me wish it was October 4th.
And any shot of the city that has the Chrysler Building in it,
That's good.
aces in our book. Adonis Garcia had the big hit for the Braves last night, a 3-run homer against Jerry Blevins. That was substantial in the Braves' 5-4 victory. His 14th home run of the year. And he shoots one down the right field side. Foul.
Remember, that's what he did to Gazelman the first time up in last night's ball game. Shot one down the right side for a double.
Bartolo Colon last time out, 7 scoreless innings against the Twins Friday night for his 14th victory of the season, making him only the 3rd Met pitcher in history to have at least 14 wins each of his first 3 seasons with the club. Tom Seaver, Dwight Gooden, Bartolo Colon.
Wow.
Off the fist to shallow center. Rivera out, De Aza in, and it falls in between for a base hit. So Garcia with a pop fly single, and he's aboard with 1 out.
You know what's interesting about this play is T.J. Rivera. We know he doesn't have a ton of experience at second base. Watch him go out. So he goes out after the ball. He's looking good, and he takes one look at the center fielder there. And that one look might have cost him a chance to get a little deeper and maybe come up with a miraculous play.
Last night, Bruce and Granderson allowed a ball to fall between them in right center field. This was not quite like that, but the Braves right now having all their cylinders clicking offensively. Here's Freddie Freeman, who's been the hottest of them all. 24-game hitting streak, now a 40-game on-base streak for Freeman, who's 5 for 9 with 3 extra base hits in this series.
You know, we just spoiled the last 3 years watching Lagares turn that into a can of corn.
And everything else.
Right.
Of course, Lagares is available to play defense, not yet to hit. Juan has been taking some batting practice the last couple of days, but it's uncertain whether he'll be able to hit at all before the end of the year. So right now he is simply a late inning defensive choice.
He's got great numbers there in our graphic, and he's got great numbers against Cologne.
14 for 30, a 467 career average against Bartolo. Garcia, not a base stealer, staying close to the bag.
Actually held him in check last night. 3 strikeouts, only 1 for 4. 4 hits the first game of the series.
And 1 hit last night was a booming double to center field. He goes after the high fastball and misses 1-2.
It was interesting from Cologne. I think it was supposed to be a little cutter inside, but it just stayed up and away.
One-two coming to Freeman, and Freddie gets jammed and pops it up. In comes Cespedes, and that's the second out. Well, there your Empire City Casino wild card standings. The Cardinals lost this afternoon. They got blown out in Colorado 11-1. That drops them a half game behind the Mets and the Giants. 3-way tie coming into the day.
Nolan Arenado hit a grand slam. He now has 39 home runs and 128 RBI.
And 21-year-old German Marquez started that game for Colorado. His first major league start. He had come in a trade from Tampa Bay. 5 innings, 4 hits in his first start, and really stifled the Cardinals at Coors today. So that helps out the Mets. Here's Matt Kemp, and he takes a strike. Kemp is 3 for 9 in this series. He's got a 12-game hitting streak working. Drove in his 100th run of the year last night. 4th time in his career he's had 100 RBIs. And that's in the air to right field. Pretty well hit. Granderson, though, has room and goes back to grab it, and that retires the side. So 4 balls hit in the air, 1 falls, 3 are caught. It works for Cologne. Mets come to bat with no score. T.J. Rivera makes his 8th consecutive start. Why not? He's been hitting, and Wilmer Flores is still banged up. Alejandro De Aza gets a start in center with Jay Bruce on the bench. Rene Rivera catching tonight.
Well, James Ryan Weber, you can see his numbers. Not a lot of numbers there. Clearwater Central Catholic High School in Florida.
Jose Reyes leads things off against Weber and takes low and away for ball 1. Reyes just 1 for 9 in this series and just 8 for his last 45. Mets need for him to pick it up over these last 11 games. And Weber misses inside. Whatever Ryan Weber does tonight, he probably won't do it for long. The most pitches he's thrown in a major league game this year is 57. The most he's thrown in a minor league game is 73. And he falls behind on Reyes 3-0. Now Weber has issued only 1 unintentional walk in 31 1/3 big league innings this year.
I thought the first 2 pitches were strikes, but Chris Siegel did not.
Young umpire behind the plate, and Reyes walks off 4 pitches. So there is the 2nd unintentional walk issued by Weber in the big leagues this year.
Coors Light defense for your Bravos. Enciarte in center field. Strong arm. Markakis, the veteran, in right. You've got 2 young guys on the left side, and Garcia and Swanson. A nice future for those Bravos. And the former Met, Anthony Recker, behind the dish.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, who was on base 5 times last night. 3 hits and 2 walks. And Weber still hasn't thrown a strike.
Anthony Recker's killing us by going to another organization. He was good for 10 to 15 interviews a year.
He'll take one of our jobs one of these days.
Exactly.
Anthony's off to a great offensive start for the Braves.
It's a different kind of mask, right? Looks like reinforced.
There goes Reyes. The pitch is strike. Recker's thrown, not in time. Reyes has the stolen base, his 9th of the year.
Well, good to see Jose off early in the count, early in the game. I think that Jose recognizes this Met ball club has lost the first 2 games of the Braves. This is what he's here for, to spark this club. He's on base, get the ball rolling. Well done.
When he gets on, he generally finds his way home. The Mets need to find ways to score runs without home runs, and Reyes gives them their best chance to do that.
44 games played. This is his 45th. 37 runs scored.
Swanson keeping him close at second as Cabrera waits, and as Dribble shoots one foul, and it's 1-2. Reyes has now led off 51 games for the Mets. His on base percentage in those first at bats of games is .431. So the first inning has been the best inning for Reyes in terms of getting on. Cabrera drove in his 50th run of the year last night, and he hits this to deep right field. Markakis looks up, and it's out of here into the Coca-Cola corner. Asdrubal Cabrera with his 21st home run of the year. A 2-run shot to put the Mets on top. His 2nd career at bat against Ryan Weber, his 2nd career home run against Ryan Weber. And his 20th home run as a shortstop, which breaks Jose Reyes' club record.
Gee, if young Mr. Weber trying to come inside doesn't have enough on the ball.
Too much middle, full extension. And Cabrera, nice and easy stroke. That blonde hair has really been very productive for him.
On base 5 times last night, circles the bases his first time up tonight, and the Mets with a quick 2-0 lead, and Yoenis Cespedes is stepping in.
Well, Mets again on the home run trail.
204 home runs for the Mets this season. A curveball from Weber in for a strike. The Mets home run means $2,000 for No Kid Hungry, enough to provide 20,000 healthy meals courtesy of Citi. Cabrera's hit 21 home runs, 16 of them at Citi Field.
Well, he wants to come in. Guess what? Up and down the old, Gary, should I say it? Piperoni.
Up and away.
We used to say, did they serve food on that flight?
Hang close on that line drive.
Dialed 8 for long distance. That's an anachronism.
That's a good one.
There.
I forgot about that one.
Which would produce blackcourt fever.
Right. Another anachronism.
Wasn't that a Hitchcock film? Dial 8 for.
Dial in for murder.
Cabrera has been invaluable for this team. Those two, they've been stalwarts. Colon and Cabrera. Cespedes battling a slump right now. And he pokes one in the air to shallow center. Circling in is Inciarte. Has to hurry to get there, but does for the first out. Coors Light Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Mets second in the National League in home runs. 70 and 38 when they hit a homer, 10 and 33 when they don't. We had Elias do a little checking for us because the Mets are in the top 2 in the league in home runs, and they're in the bottom 2 in the league in runs scored. And we wondered how often that has happened, that a team's been top 2 in homers and bottom 2 in runs. And Elias tells us it's only happened twice since 1961 in baseball's expansion era. The 2007 White Sox were second in homers, last in runs. The 2013 Cubs were second in homers, second lowest in runs. What those teams did not have in common with the Mets is they were terrible teams. The 2007 White Sox went 72 and 90. The 2013 Cubs went 66 and 96. But here are the Mets, 9 games over 500 in the heart of a race with that same characteristic. 1-2 to Granderson.
We spent some time yesterday talking about Cabrera, whether he was going to be able to stay in the game with that knee injury. His at bats in the last 2 games, 4 hits, a home run, a double, and a couple of walks.
Ryan Weber, 26 years old, made 5 starts for the Braves last year, including 1 against the Mets. That was a memorable game in Atlanta in September last year that he started. Strike 3 call. Granderson's out, and that's the first strikeout for Weber. 2 away.
Little late snappy hook right there.
That was the best curveball he's thrown so far. He hung one to Cespedes, but this one was better. Was that the game where Murphy hit a home run late?
It was right after the Mets played the series in Washington where they swept him. It was that next weekend. And the Mets were down by 3 runs in the 9th, 2 out.
Sunday afternoon or something.
Yeah, Murphy hit a 3-run homer to tie it, and the Mets won in extra innings. Weber started that game for the Braves.
A lot of walks by the Atlanta relievers leading up to that.
Yeah, I think it was Ryan Kelly who gave up the home run to Murphy.
You got a good memory, Gary.
Well, that was a game for the ages. TJ Rivera pulls one to shortstop. Swanson's right there to grab it. And the wide throw, but Freeman stayed on the bag, and that retires the side. But Reyes gets aboard, and as Dribble Cabrera parks one in the Coca-Cola corner. Number 21 for Cabrera. And the Mets are off to a fast start in the final game of this series. They lead the Braves 2-0 after 1. Bartolo Colon staked to a 2-0 lead as he takes the mound for the second. Nick Markakis leads off for the Braves. Markakis had an 11-game hitting streak come to an end last night. 2 for 8 in this series. And he lifts one out to left. 5 batters. High ball hit in the air against Colon. Cespedes grabs it, 1 out. Crowd still coming in at Citi Field. Game of great import to the Mets, as is every game at this point.
They missed the home run.
Maybe there'll be more for them to see.
Have you noticed that Colon really does his own scouting report? He's already thrown 3 or 4 cut fastballs in on the lefty. Retired Freeman on one, and Markakis. A pitch we don't see him throw very often, but like he is using it against this Atlanta team.
Now he'll face a guy who used to catch him, Anthony Recker. 77 at bats for Reck, and he's hitting 286, which is unusual territory for him. Known more for his occasional power than his ability to produce a lot of base hits.
Doing something different than when he was with the Mets. He's resting that bat on his back shoulder, relieve the tension before the pitch is thrown.
23rd start for Recker, who was in spring training with the Indians. Was let go and picked up by the Braves. We talked about Colon being an old-fashioned stopper. It's a term you don't hear a lot in baseball anymore. But it refers to the guy that you turn to stop a losing streak. Well, in games directly after the Mets have lost, 11 starts this year after the Mets have lost the previous game, Bartolo is 7-1 with a 2.06.
That's
very nice.
So impressive. Everything about Bartolo this year is impressive, including getting hit on the thumb and not missing a start.
Yep.
And he's not getting any younger.
Might be.
He just keeps producing.
I mean, we talked about being only the 3rd Met pitcher to have 14 wins in each of his first 3 years as a Met. Well, the other 2 guys did that at the start of their careers, Seaver and Gooden. This guy's doing it in his 40s. It's unbelievable.
He's old, but you don't think he found Ponce de Leon, do you?
He might have co-opted Ponce de Leon. On the outside corner, Recker caught looking. And there's the first strikeout of the night for Colon.
So I guess if you even catch Colon and you know the movement of Colon, you still can't swing at the pitch, although that ball's outside.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Jace Peterson looking for his first hit in this series. He's gone 0 for 7. Shot toward the middle on the backhand. Rivera throws out Peterson, side retired. 1-2-3 for Colon after getting the lead. 2-0 Mets in the second. the ballpark tonight.
Well,
Mrs. Picker, I see, made it. In the Met hat.
Alejandro De Aza leads off the home second. Mets with a 2-0 lead. De Aza getting the start in center field tonight. Last started Sunday against the Twins, went 0 for 3. Ryan Weber gave up a walk and a 2-run homer to Cabrera in the first inning, then retired the next 3 hitters. Let's have a little bit of a book on Weber because they faced him last September. They faced him again in April this year in relief. His only start of the season came a couple of weeks ago in Washington. He went just 3 innings in that game, gave up 5 runs and a 6-4 loss. Good change up to De Aza, 2-2.
well, he's been on that Gwinnett Atlanta shuttle this year 5 times back and forth.
Well, the Braves have used 16 different starting pitchers, so there's been a lot of opportunity on this Atlanta staff. And De Aza got tied up but held in time on that cutter, and it's 3-2.
How many of the Mets have used this year? About a dozen?
11.
11? Okay.
You know, it was the 11th. Speaking of which, it looks as though after his bullpen session today that Steven Matz might be the starter on Friday for at least a limited period of time. De Aza pulls one foul.
You will have to pardon me if I don't wait for one more day.
I haven't written it down on my probables that I keep in front of me. It still says TBA, but the information was that after his bullpen session, if everything's okay tomorrow, that Stevens should be able to have a foreshortened start with Inoa backing him up. And you see the city probables for the series against the Phillies. Adam Morgan, the lefty, goes tomorrow. The Mets were hoping to have Wilmer Flores ready for that, but he won't be. Even after his second cortisone shot yesterday, Wilmer still was unable to swing a bat today.
What did Terry call it?
DEFCON 4.
That's not good.
De Aza lifts one down the right field line. Overcomes Markakis near the sidewall and climbing it and can't make the catch.
Well,
The fan grabbed it from him, but it looked like it was on the fan's side of the railing. So it's not fan interference.
Well, that was a nice try by Markakis to get up in the stands to try to make it, but the Mets fan took it away.
Oh, he leaned over.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
It's definitely on the other side of the
She
fence.
made a great play.
Is that interference?
Well,
can that be construed as
came
interference?
over the railing into the field of play, so it could be construed that way. But the umpires would also have to feel as though Markakis was going to make the catch.
Right.
And I'm not sure he would have.
His glove wasn't even close.
Well, she made a terrific play.
You're about 2 inches away from being thrown out of here, but okay, good catch.
Try those 2 guys next to her. I'd leave. I'd be embarrassed.
Well, the Braves are not going to challenge the call. 8th pitch of the at bat coming to De Aza. And it's inside ball 4. So Weber issues a leadoff walk for the 2nd straight inning. So was he going to catch it if the fan did?
Oh,
maybe
closer than you think.
Yeah, I was wrong.
That could have been an interference.
He had his glove in the vicinity.
But either way you slice it, that's a heck of a catch by the young lady. Beautiful backhand.
She's got her postseason 2015 shirt. Waiting to get her postseason 2016 shirt, hoping that that comes about. Here's James Loney, 4 for 7 in this series, and over his last 9 games, Loney hitting .357, so he has picked it back up.
We saw Reyes running early. Wonder if De Aza will try to do the same.
4 stolen bases for De Aza on the year. And Loney shoots one foul. Well, the 3-way tie coming into the day among the Mets, Cardinals, and Giants sent everybody scrambling to the record books and to the tiebreaker procedures.
Yeah.
Let's start with the record books.
Okay.
Since 1969, when divisional play began, There had been only one instance where there had been a three-way tie for a division lead or the wild card lead this late in the season, and the Mets were involved in that one as well. In 1998, with 2 days to go in the season, the Mets, the Giants, and the Cubs were all tied for what was then the one wild card spot. Mets were in Atlanta that last weekend, lost 2. The Cubs and Giants each split, and they played a one-game playoff for the wild card between them, which the Cubs wound up winning. There goes De Aza. Wrecker's throw. Got him. Close play. Not sure if the Mets going to challenge this one. Bill Miller, the second base umpire, made the call.
That was a quick tag by Swanson, but I don't know if he tagged De Aza.
Nice throw by Wrecker. We know Wrecker can throw. No wasted motion. Perfect throw.
You know what I'm saying? He tagged the ground, but did he get the hand of De Aza?
Got him.
Yeah,
He's out.
got him.
He's out.
And the Mets will not challenge. 2-6 on the caught stealing.
Nice
First
throw.
out of the inning.
Nice throw by Wrecker. That's what it took. The Mets showing a little Speedy Gonzalez out here tonight.
A little looper, and the second baseman Peterson there to grab it. 2 out. Well, the Mets don't often have 2 guys in their lineup who can even consider stealing bases, but with Reyes and De Aza both in there,
it makes me think that probably Terry Collins told them both to get on base, make it happen.
Here's Rene Rivera, hitless in his last 9 at bats, .220 for the year, 5 home runs. Over the last week, Rivera has gotten a little more playing time than Travis d'Arnaud. It was another rough night at the plate for d'Arnaud last night. Had a couple of opportunities to cash in runs, couldn't do it. Good 2-seamer for a strike from Weber, and it's 1-1. Tomorrow night, Seth Lugo pitches for the Mets, and Rivera has caught all of Lugo's starts. Curveball fouled off.
Well, Rivera's only hitting .220, but in 100 less at bats, he's got 10 more RBI than Travis d'Arnaud. So he is, I think, a step up defensive wise, and he's getting the job done offensively too.
Right back to Weber, and that retires the side. After 2 at Citi Field, 2-0 Mets. Mark in the Park day at Citi Field. Follow Mets baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app, which includes game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
There's supposed to be a pool here, a waiting pool for the dogs with a slip and slide for the dogs.
Is that true?
On the property somewhere.
I
Really?
did
Yes.
not know that.
Slip and slide.
Gelbsy, let's go.
I want to know if there's an elimination area.
Yeah. Right.
That would be my greatest concern bringing my dog. Dansby Swanson is 10 for 18 against Met pitching since his call up. He's had 99 big league at bats and he's hitting .313, 5 for 9 in this series. He won't be an 8-hitter for very long. Lifts this one to right field. Can of corn for Granderson. 1 out. It's all Bart all the time.
Oh, nice. Don't care for the hat. Love the shirt.
You're not big into the pork pie?
Pork pie.
I'm not going there.
Ryan Weber looking for his first big league hit, 0 for 15 in his brief big league career. So the tiebreaker procedures, I figure we have to throw them out there, right?
Yeah, I just was looking at that today. I got it down, but the Mets could have some serious trouble.
Yeah. So here's how it works. You got three. If you have a 3-way tie, you go first to the head-to-head records to establish who has top priority in the tiebreaker seedings. Now, if you take the 3 teams, the Mets, the Cardinals, and the Giants against each other, the Mets are 7-6 against the other 2. The Cardinals are 7-6. The Giants are 6-8. So the Mets and Cardinals have the same record. Now, here's the part that doesn't make any sense. The next tiebreaker, even though it's a wild card and they're in different divisions, is divisional record.
Silly.
And the Cardinals will have the better divisional record than the Mets. Better record against the Central than the Mets have against the East. So the Cardinals will get the top seed. And the Monday after the season, if there's a 3-way tie, would host the Mets. Presumably the Mets. It's the Mets' choice. We'll get to that in a minute. Here's strike 3 called. Second strikeout for Cologne. So the Mets would go to St. Louis. The winner of that game would get the first wild card.
That's right.
The loser of that game would go to San Francisco, and the winner of that game would get the second wild card. Now, the Mets could choose, instead of being the team that plays at St. Louis and then might have to play at San Francisco, to simply stay home and be the C team in that scenario, and let the Giants play at St. Louis and have the loser there come to the Mets. But that, if they did that, even though they'd get a home game, they wouldn't have 2 shots to get in, and they wouldn't have a shot to be the home team for the wild card game.
Except what's interesting is that might be the best scenario with them, with the Noah Syndergaard issue and other pitchers.
Right.
They might not have 2 starters to start. Well, 3 really, if you went all the way through.
Right. I think that's the only scenario where you consider taking that 1-shot deal at home, is if you're so short in your rotation.
Wow. So folks, the Mets they could play in Philadelphia on Sunday, St. Louis on Monday, San Francisco on Tuesday, St. Louis on Wednesday, have a day off in Chicago on Friday if they made it all the way through.
Right. But you know what? If sometime in the next 11 days they can have 1 more win than the other 2, then they can just wait here and play one of them on Wednesday. Be a lot easier that way. Inciarte takes strike 3 call. Along with his 3rd strikeout, all have come on call 3rd strikes. And Bartolo is rolling. He's retired 8 in a row. 2-0 Mets in the 3rd. first hit of the year. He drives one deep left field. That goes Upton. Back near the wall. It's out of here. Bartolo has done it. The impossible has happened. This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
It really was. I mean, it's a little bit of hyperbole, but it really felt that way. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And I could tell by your chuckles you might have felt the same way.
Well, I didn't realize until we played that I yelped when he hit it because I knew it was gone right away. I giggled while you were calling it. I mean, so unprofessional, but it deserved it.
It was a singular moment for a singular man.
I was strike three called. I was in the in my car out in my neighborhood listening. I heard the call by Howie and Josh on the radio.
Howie said, "I repeat."
That's great.
Bartolo Colon has hit a home run. Speaking of pitchers and hitting, by the way, how about Adam Wainwright?
18 RBI now.
18 RBIs, the most any pitchers had since the DH came into play in 1973. Last pitcher with that many RBIs was Ferguson Jenkins, who had 20 in 1971. Reyes walked, stole a base, and scored a run in the first. And he takes up an N1-1. So it's been a pretty good year for pitchers hitting feats. Problem with Wainwright is he's hit better than he's pitched at times. That's slapped the other way. Over comes Kemp, though, to grab it. 2 out. For more on Adam Wainwright, let's go inside baseball with Steve Gelbs, whose report tonight is brought to you by Heineken. Steve?
Gary, really is an incredible feat. His 4 RBIs last night, just the second time a pitcher this season had 4 RBIs in a game. The other one, of course, being Noah Syndergaard. But the feat is even more impressive when you consider the body of work this season for Wainwright. It's the 4th time this season where he had 3 RBIs in a game and earned the win. Just the 4th pitcher in the history of baseball to accomplish that feat. The other 3 were Wes Ferrell of the Indians in 1931, Hal Shoemaker of the Giants in 1935, and Don Newcomb of the Dodgers in 1955. So it hasn't happened since 1955.
Quick inning for Ryan Weber. Mets lead 2-0 after 3. This men's health update is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Fourth inning, Adonis Garcia leads off, and Bartolo Colon starts with a slider outside. Garcia, the only base runner for the Braves so far tonight, hit a pop fly that fell in between Rivera and De Aza in shallow center field. Since then, Colon's retired 8 in a row. Freddie Freeman on deck, then Matt Kemp for the Braves. And he keeps it away from Garcia, 2-0. On the corner, 2-1.
Pitch you don't see much in baseball anymore. That's the get me over fastball. 2-0. Take a little off, keep it down, keep it away.
Line to right center. On comes De Aza to make the catch. Well, had a lot of sizzle on it, so it stayed up for Alejandro for the first out. It's 9 in a row for Colon. Some of the particulars on the ageless wonder. Won a Cy Young Award 11 years ago. He's not going to get to 200 innings this year, but he'll get close. He's over 180 now with his 3 1/3 tonight. More wins, more starts, more innings than any active pitcher. And probably dearest to his heart, the chance, perhaps, next year to catch Juan Marichal and or Dennis Martinez. Marichal for the record for wins by Dominican-born pitchers, and Dennis Martinez the record for most wins by any Latin American pitcher.
Only 3 starts away from 500. Try to wrap your brain around this, folks. With facing Garcia, he's faced 13,330 batters in his career.
Drive toward left center, falling fast, and that's a base hit for Freeman, who extends his hitting streak to 25 games. You can win a gas card. Just follow SNY on Twitter during the 5th inning of tonight's game for details on how to enter the SNY 5th inning sweepstakes presented by Tri-State Ford.
That's twice that Bartolo has gone in to get Freeman.
So Freeman with a 1-out hit after Colon had retired 9 in a row. And here is Kemp, who flied one to the warning track at right field his first time up. That's driven foul. Check out tonight's Verizon trivia question. Who was the catcher for Bartolo Colon's first career start? Would have been with the Indians.
I want to say Junior. That's my first guess.
How about Skinner? Is he around then? Joel Skinner?
Sandy Alomar Jr. I was referring to.
Not Cal.
Not Cal. He's an Iron Man, but he doesn't catch.
Didn't we have that question once before years ago?
The question we had a few weeks ago was who caught more starts for Colon than anyone.
Right.
And it was it Einar Diaz? Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Oh, okay.
0-2 to Kemp. And he struck him out. Colon went away to get Kemp for his 4th strikeout of the night. 2 down.
Well, Bartolo is a student of hitters. Kemp is a little uppercut on the high pitch. You can get him upstairs. But Bart has stayed pretty much in the right-hand hitters, Ron. He's stayed away.
Yes, he has.
Predominantly away from this lineup.
But you know what he does? He'll stay away, and he'll get a guy on third and less than 2 outs, and he'll come in to get an out. He saves that for a tougher time.
Nick Markakis flying to left his first time up. Freeman at first and 2 out. 2-0 Mets in the 4th. And 2-seamer for a strike.
He's not happy with that one because
Yeah.
it bled out over the middle.
It's interesting, Keith. You
Yep.
saw that. His
Yep.
body language, he got the strike, but he's like, that's not a proper pitch.
And I'm going to get hurt on that pitch 9 times out of 10 to a left-hand hitter. Taking a lot of time.
Markakis right back to Cologne. Continues to field his position as well as anybody in the game. Might be a Gold Glover.
Why not?
Will not be mentioning the word Brangelina once. And I'm a little troubled, quite honestly, about the idea of Gelbs being vicious with insults.
That's not.
Didn't strike me as that kind of guy.
No, I'm
Second year, he's feeling very comfortable in his shoes.
I'm shocked.
Duane Cespedes leads off the home fourth. Cespedes flied to center his first time up. Curtis Granderson on deck, then T.J. Rivera against Ryan Weber, whose evening began rather dismally with a walk and a home run, but he has not allowed another hit after Cabrera's home run in the first inning.
Boy, Keith, how have they changed pitching against Cespedes? Mostly hard stuff, mostly away.
And he is in a little bit of a dry spell right now. He's just not getting the barrel there. He's popping up a lot.
You know what he did earlier in the year when they pitched him like this? He just hit a bullet through the hole between first and second.
Hooks this one to shortstop, bobbled bit by Swanson, and the wide throw, and Freeman does nice work to stay on the bag to get Cespedes.
He's a little careless with his throws, Dansby Swanson, so far.
Freddie. I never was only had the tongue out too. He pulled a David Wright. Nice play. I never liked going out into foul territory. I liked coming up the line, or would be down the line for a first baseman, and then make the tag if you had to.
Granderson takes a curveball for a strike. Same pitch struck him out his first time up. Curtis 4 for 9 in this series. After a year-long RBI dry spell, Granderson has 17 RBIs in his last 18 games.
You have to get out of those history books, backward ones.
Speaking of history books, Gary Sanchez had another home run tonight. 18 home runs in his first 45 games, a modern major league record.
Good for him.
Nobody ever has hit 18 home runs that quickly into their major league career.
He looks like a young Pujols the way he swings. No stride. Takes one hand off the bat.
It's a good call. He's about the same size as Pujols was when he came up too.
Did you see him last night? Tampa Bay had a big powwow. Should we pitch to him? Should we not pitch to him? Decided to pitch to him. First pitch, he hit a bomb.
Granderson yanks one and a beautiful pick by Freeman for the second out. Freddie Freeman showing off.
Good hands. A little short hop right there. Nicely done. That's just the hot corner right there in reverse.
Here's T.J. Rivera with 2 out. Well, they just went final in Seattle, where all of those tens of thousands of fans from British Columbia were disappointed because the Mariners beat the Blue Jays in 12 innings 2-1. The game-winning run. Robinson Cano, a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 12th against R.A. Dickey.
Oh wow.
So after Toronto won behind Jay Happ last night, his 20th win, they now are vulnerable to being retied by Baltimore for that first wild card spot. The Orioles have a 1-0 lead against the Red Sox tonight in the 4th.
R.A. is a free agent at the end of the year. He's discussed maybe retiring. He's not sure.
How old's R.A.? 41?
He's just a titch under Cologne, right? So 41, 42.
That fans will never forget the thrills that he brought them in 2012. His Cy Young season. Up the middle, and Rivera's got another base hit. Weber kept feeding him curveballs, and TJ waited on that one long enough to pick up the Mets' second hit of the night.
Well, he continues to get his knocks.
See Swanson playing him way to pull.
Well, he's been getting a lot of base hits to that left side of the infield.
I mean, there's not many players going back to R.A. Dickey that are revolutionary in the sport. He revolutionized the knuckleball. No one has thrown it like that before him. Maybe Joe Niekro, but Joe Niekro was a fastball slider guy too.
Slider.
I mean, R.A. threw his knuckleball hard.
Yeah,
which is
all the time.
what separated him. So Rivera's now hit in 6 straight games, and now De Aza pulls one foul.
Getting some nice swings off Weber now.
De Aza drew a walk his first time up, then was caught trying to steal. De Aza in the lineup tonight, and Jay Bruce not in the lineup after being pinch hit for last night. That's pulled toward the hole, but playing toward the hole was Peterson, and he throws out De Aza to end the inning. A hit and 1 left after 4, 2-0 New York.
Well, that would be frustrating.
you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package. Anthony Recker leads off the 5th inning for Atlanta. To call third strike his first time up. Recker, Peterson, and Swanson 6, 7, and 8 in the order against Cologne, who threw 7 scoreless innings his last start against the Twins. 4 more so far tonight. And a call strike to Recker. That is the 14th called strike Cologne has gotten on his fastball already tonight. And I guess the question is why? Why do so many hitters take Cologne's fastball for strikes?
A lot of it is the movement. I can see the left-handers getting frozen on the fastball inside, but there's enough tape going around, and particularly in division.
Recker deep to center. De Aza has room. 1 out. Well, here are 9 of them. Let's see what they have in common.
Well, I think what Bartolo does better than anyone is that he gives the appearance that the ball is going to be off the plate, but because of the movement, it comes back. So as a hitter, you stand in there and you're thinking to yourself, okay, that ball's going to be, oh, it hit the corner. He just does that better than anybody in the game, and to be able to repeat it over and over again takes some kind of talent.
There's the one left-hander right there in that 9 called strikes, and we're getting tired of that umpire making that call verbally.
He's very consistent.
It's the left-hander that starts at the hip and it freezes, but when you play 19 games in division and you face Bartolo enough, you think you would make an adjustment, or as a hitter be aware of that pitch. How could you not be?
It's the 4th start for Cologne against the Braves this year. It's a 1.71 ERA against the Braves this season. Come into the night. Peterson grounds one down to first, and Loney will take it himself. 2 out. Highest percentage of strikes. Only Clayton Kershaw has thrown a higher percentage than Cologne, who's equal with Max Scherzer. That's represented with 3 of the top 5. One of the reasons the Mets have issued the fewest walks of any staff in the league.
But to try to relate to you guys that through finger pressure on the baseball, controlling the movement of the ball, I spent an entire career trying to do that and never got there. He controls that movement. That's just not happenstance. That's just not throwing it and it sinks back over the plate. He starts it 6 inches off and bends it back over for the righty each and every time. It's almost impossible to do.
And I guess for somebody who's never pitched, the question is, how do you do it? And why is he able to do it better than anybody else?
Well, he does it with finger pressure. That's what most pitchers do when they sink the baseball. But what he's able to do for some reason, and I would equate it to someone who can play a great saxophone or flute, he knows the precise pressure to put it on to make it move that much. He also knows how to take speed off the ball so it'll move a little more because it takes a little longer to get to the plate.
Just off the plate to Swanson, 1-2.
Every pitcher who's ever pitched in this game late in their career tries to come up with new pitches. He went the other way. I'm just going to master one pitch and work with that. And I wish I'd known that 30 years ago or 25 years ago.
It's really remarkable because he does all the fastballs. He changes speeds with them. That's another thing. That there's a rare slider.
He's thrown 2 sliders now on pitch 50, 47, and on 55. 2. And we're in the 5th.
And he throws it with 2 strikes for an out pitch because you're not used to it as a hitter. It'll surprise you.
Two and 2 to Swanson. And he struck him out. 5 strikeouts for Cologne through 5 scoreless innings. Call him Old Man River if you must, but he just keeps rolling along. Science of Baseball brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. More science, less fear.
You know, Bartolo is sneaky athletic, and what I mean by that is even though he's a big man, he's got a very compact motion that produces a lot of torque, and what he does, you saw it getting in that great fielding position. I mean, that's a lot of weight that he puts on that front knee each and every time, and the man doesn't miss a start. It's phenomenal.
James Loney, first pitch swinging, grounds one down to Freddie Freeman, 1 out. You know, thinking about heavy pitchers, knees are often an issue. I know for Sid Fernandez that was eventually his downfall.
Rick Russell too suffered from that. It's just you know, the pounding that you take as a starting pitcher, certainly not as much as an everyday player. It's different kind of for a starting pitcher, but you know, you've got to be able to be strong to take that pounding over and over and over again, and Colon does it much better than most.
Here's Rene Rivera, who had a comebacker his first time up. Fifth inning recap brought to you by Ford. Colon has been the goods again. 5 scoreless innings, no walks, 5 strikeouts. As Asdrubal Cabrera, second batter for the Mets, at a 2-run homer, and that has been all the scoring.
Now Rivera clocks one to deep left center. That goes Inciarte near the wall. It's out of here. Rene Rivera with his 6th home run of the year, and it's 3-0 New York. Living by the long ball, 205 Met home runs, and a 3-0 lead tonight.
High fastball, mistake, and that's a home run in the old ballpark. Well, not the old ballpark, the old dimensions.
Fence high.
There you go, right there, letter high, right down the middle.
Can't get a much better sign as late as you signed Rene Rivera.
Well, he was out there for the taking, and the Mets took him. Colon not in swing mode, and he goes down looking for the second time. 3rd strikeout for Weber.
Colon gets his one good healthy rip, and then he just takes. He doesn't want to exert anymore.
I think that's probably very judicious of him.
He tends to, against the young pitchers, not want as much part of them because he's not really sure if they're going to throw it over the plate.
Now Reyes, who walked and scored in the first, lined out to left in the 3rd. And he gets that one down the line, the slice away foul. That Rene Rivera home run on September the 21st, the first RBI by a Met catcher in September. Tyrell Jenkins, the right-hander, Jed Bradley, the left-hander, up in the Braves bullpen. Ball to Reyes, 1-2.
You know, Gary, I think back on last year and how successful it was, and their great August and September, and you know, into the postseason, and Murphy and the young pitchers and all the great storylines, of course, that you had getting into the World Series.
Reyes laces a base hit, his second hit of the night, his first hit of the night, second time on base.
If you're a Mets fan and into writing the story about this team, and all the little stories from both Riveras, the TJs and the Renes, the artisanal pitchers, I called them last night, Gesellman and Lugo, and Ynoa. It's a marvelous story. It really is.
I mean, guys who were not even in the thought process when we came out of spring training. Loney and Reyes and Rene Rivera and the pitchers, as you mentioned. None of these guys were even in the organization, and it's a stunning story. It really is. And Reyes just gets his hand back in.
Good move by Weber.
When you think about, really, Colon is the only guy who has gone coast to coast in the rotation, and Granderson's really the only guy who's gone coast to coast in the batting order. But what we tend to forget when you think about the story of this team is the 8th and 9th inning.
Yeah.
Those have been stable all year, and that counts for a lot. Just look at the Giants.
No, you're right about that.
You're talking about bullpens.
Well,
you can't. Those are tough losses when your bullpen coughs them up.
The way the game is constituted now, that might be as important as anything else.
I mean, when you talk about most valuable players for this team, they might be 1 and 1A, Familia and Reed, or maybe Reed and Familia. Curveball misses to Cabrera. The Giants, by the way, finally got some bullpen performance last night, 3 2/3, with Sergio Romo getting the save. But the reason they needed that much bullpen was because Johnny Cueto came out with a groin injury, and now they're saying he's going to miss a start, which is huge. And they lost their shortstop Randy Crawford, who dislocated his pinky on a slide. He's not in the lineup tonight for the Giants against the Dodgers in the final game of that series. Matt Moore against Kenta Maeda later on. Mets and Giants tied in the standings. The Cardinals, with their loss this afternoon, a half game behind. There goes Reyes, and it's pulled down the line. Just foul.
The ball boy was stuck in a bad place.
Tomorrow night, the Mets open a 4-game series here at Citi Field against the Phillies. Seth Lugo goes after his 5th win. He'll be opposed by lefty Adam Morgan. 6 o'clock the coverage tomorrow night on SNY. After tonight, the Mets have 10 games left, 7 of the 10 against the Phillies. Phillies are playing the White Sox tonight, leading 6-1 in the 5th, going for their 4th win in their last 5. Of course, they're heating up right before they face the Mets. Reyes almost has gotten picked off a couple of times in this sequence.
Well, Freddie Freeman probably has the quickest tag for a right-handed first baseman in the league. He likes slapping it on the runners at first.
Reyes was only a fingertip or 2 away that time from getting caught.
He just told him, Freeman just told Reyes, you just got in by a pinky.
Got him in the heel, and the heel of the glove, he was going for the tag too quick.
I mean, how does the glove come off like that? I mean, we saw that happen to Wainwright in St. Louis, but that's because Cespedes kicked it off. A 2-run homer into the Coca-Cola corner back in the 1st inning, his 21st of the year. This may be as many pickoff throws as I've seen anybody throw
in a long time, that's for sure.
And the crowd getting a little restless as a result. Now he's got to run, right?
You know, 2-1 count, fastball.
Another one.
The fans always boo the pickoff play.
Always, yes.
Always. Like 1920 they booed.
I believe 1876.
Oh. On the fields in Brooklyn. Or Jersey.
When they were throwing underhand and the hitter got to decide high or low. There goes Reyes, and Cabrera gets under one to right field. This one will stay in the ballpark as Markakis drifts back, and that retires the side. But the Mets expand their lead as Rene Rivera adds to the home run parade. 6th of the year for Rene, and the Mets lead at 3-0 after 5 at Citi Field. Sixth inning, 3-0 New York. Malik Smith pinch hitting for Ryan Weber, trying to bunt his way on. Smith, who broke his thumb earlier this year on a hit by pitch by Antonio Bastardo, who is celebrating his birthday today. I don't know whether Malik's sent a birthday card to Antonio.
I doubt it. It's Antonio, 30s?
32, I think.
Okay. This kid has a chance. Malik Smith. He's got good speed. He looked good in the outfield. He was rushed to the major leagues in April and May.
Well, what's interesting is that it's lined off Cologne. It deflects to the right side, and Smith has an infield hit.
Bartolo thought he should have had that. Hit right on the button to his left and just off the end of the glove.
Fastball had a lot of plate. It was right down the middle.
So the Braves will lead off base runner. What I was going to say, Ronnie, if Smith doesn't break his thumb, the Braves may never have traded for Matt Kemp.
Yeah, that's right.
And now with Kemp here and signed for the next, was it 3 years, and with Markakis and with Inciarte, might be no room at the inn for Malik Smith.
2 more years on the contract for Markakis.
Right.
Inciarte, to me, now I know he plays every day and he's played fantastic, would be an unbelievable 4th outfielder if you have a good ball club. But the Braves are still going to be a team in transition, I think, next season.
And that one gets away, and Smith will go to second. Loney got tied up, and Smith arrives safely at second base.
Throwing it into the runner. Tough chance right there for Loney. Tramples upon Smith.
It'll be an error charge to Cologne, his 3rd error of the season. Is that going to cost him the Gold Glove?
It might.
You think I'm kidding?
I always had a lot of errors. You know, 2, 3, 4 a year, always.
I do know this, as Ender Inciarte waits and takes ball one. The defensive metrics are very kind to Bartolo Colon. So, and they play a role now in deciding the Golden Gloves. I think it's 25% comes from the metrics, the rest from the managers and coaches. So he's certainly a candidate. Inciarte is 0 for 2. And hits the comebacker, and he's got Smith trapped. Colon runs at him. Nicely done. Reyes gets the tag on Smith, and Inciarte able to get to second. And Smith did a good job staying on the rundown long enough to allow Inciarte to get to second base. So it's 1-6-5 on the fielder's choice.
Well, this is a difficult play. Once you make the play as a pitcher, you have to run. But see how he ran? You got to keep him going a little further towards second base, so that stops Inciarte on his tracks. But hey, listen, you got a big man like Colon. Give the ball to the athletes and let them get the job done.
Reyes does a beautiful job of closing right there, but the whole thing was that Smith caught in the middle, forced Colon to come at him, gave Inciarte enough time to advance to second.
Let me ask you a question as an infielder, Keith, and this would be an incredibly difficult thing to do as Garcia steps in. If you're Reyes chasing Smith back to second, you got him going in that direction, and you see Inciarte right there, could you make the throw to Rivera to get the tag, and then you still have Smith in the rundown?
You could absolutely do that, no question, because Rivera is going to be there. He's the backup.
I've seen that play made before, Gary. It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, if you could get 2 outs on that play, that would be tremendous, but obviously it would be a difficult thing to do in the moment.
Well, as a hitter, you're going to bust out of the box in the hopes of getting to second base. And he gets there. And you see there was Rivera right there, TJ at second base.
Two 2-0 to Garcia, who's 1 for 2 tonight. And Colon misses away. 3-0. Got Freddie Freeman standing on deck. 3-0 game. Last thing in the world that Colon wants is for Freeman to come to bat at the tying run.
You know, as opposed to last night when Gazelman got in trouble and he had to face Freeman. You're talking about a different cat here in Bartolo Colon, who, you know, you expect to go 6+, 7 innings, 7+ at times.
3-0 swinging, and Colon snags that comebacker. Boy, the Mets get a huge break there. Garcia with Freeman standing on deck, swinging 3-0, and it's a comebacker for the second out.
Wow, do they have a red light over there? A no-hit sign? I mean, come on. You're down 3 runs. You got to take 3-0. Best hitter coming up. Teaching these people how to play the game. Silly.
Well, there's a huge out. And now Freeman comes to bat. 1 for 2 tonight. Singled softly to left in the 4th inning to extend his hitting streak to 25 games. 3rd longest in the major leagues this year. And he takes inside ball 1. Only the 2 Red Sox hitters had longer hitting streaks. Jackie Bradley and Sander Bogaerts, right?
Yes.
And Brian Dozier is still on Freeman's heels, 23 going into tonight. Ran that ball in on him, and it's 1-1.
Staying in.
It's that cutter 4-seamer that he's throwing instead of the comebacker to Freddie.
Just a little bit of a cut on that.
Inciarte at second with 2 out. And Freeman pounds one into the ground, and it's 1-2.
Just staying with that little cut fastball. What Colon does have, Keith, when he gets ahead like this, he'll occasionally elevate it and throw it 2 miles an hour faster. You'll see that 92 or 93 mile an hour fastball.
I've seen him all year when the good hitters he goes inside. Now he's gotten ahead in.
One-two coming. Struck him out. He went up and away with the fastball at 92, and he strikes out Freddie Freeman to get through the inning. 6 strikeouts for the ageless Cologne. 6 scoreless innings tonight. Playing stopper, you bet. Best hitter, no problem. 3-0 Mets in the 6th. Matt Farmhand will come on in relief for the Braves.
Some reliefs. It's been in relief. It started some games. He was in the Uribe Johnson trade, of course.
He started against the Mets twice this year. Had a great start here back in June when the Braves swept a 3-game series. Then a rougher start in Atlanta 2 weeks ago. Cespedes leads off against him in the home 6th. Yoenis is 0 for 2 tonight. 0 for 10 in this series. Flied out and grounded out tonight. Cespedes, Granderson, and T.J. Rivera against Gant. Time for tonight's Toyota Twitter poll. Tweet us at SNYTV. Despite playing so few games, he only played 45 games, should Gary Sanchez be the American League Rookie of the Year? Yes or no? Now, part of the issue is there's really no other runaway candidate in the American League like there is in the National League, where Corey Seager should be a lock.
Yeah, I got Naquin hitting 300 for Cleveland. Mazzara hit 20 home runs for the Texas Rangers.
Michael Fulmer to me.
Fulmer, of course, although he's been limping in September. We've been watching his starts.
Cespedes, who was traded for Fulmer, grounds one to Garcia, and that's the first out. Of course, the precedent for a guy coming up this late and being an MVP is Willie McCovey for the Giants in 1959 came up right at the end of July and won the MVP that year.
Playing
rookie of the year that year.
Playing left field, because Cepeda was at first base, and big stretch came up, and so there was a rare case. What, his first how many games he hit over 400?
Wow, only played 52 games that
right
year,
so yeah,
which is about the same percentage.
That's right. So there's precedent for it.
and interesting about, when I was a kid growing up, the sophomore jinx was always in Russ Hodges and Lon Simmons' vocabulary. And McCovey, his second year, only hit 13 home runs and hit 238, 239.
Which is interesting from a Mets perspective when you think about Michael Conforto and his struggles this year.
Precisely. I've always felt the sophomore jinx was that your rookie year, nothing's expected of you. You have talent, you're there.
Yeah.
But there's really, unless you're a Dwight Gooden, but did anybody expect
Strawberry or whatever?
Then the next season, as a player, you have the expectations aren't on you.
A check swing blooper, and Garcia goes back to get it, 2 out.
You go to spring training the next year, and there's expectations of you to do it. And I think it's the first full year, and that's the sophomore jinx.
Not only did McCovey win it in 1959, he got every vote.
Every first place vote?
Well, there was only one vote.
Okay.
There was no second or third place at that time. And he got all 24 votes.
What did he get? 4 hits his first game?
Yeah.
Robin Roberts was the pitcher.
Here's T.J. Rivera, who's 1 for 2, singled up the middle his last time up. And isn't this interesting? The Braves are now playing a full shift against Rivera. First time we've seen that against TJ.
In his 15 days in the big leagues.
Well, where the second baseman Peterson is playing is exactly where he got the hit the last time, to the left of second base.
So they're changing within game,
and he still found the hole. How about that? They stacked the left side. He still hit it between them. Second hit of the night for T.J. Rivera.
Well,
when you're hot, you're hot.
And if you hit it hard enough, you can get it through those shifts.
Well, he just keeps on hitting, doesn't he? 25 hits now in his first 71 big league at bats. Puts him at 352.
I don't think he's coming out of that lineup.
No. Here's De Aza, who's walked and grounded out 0 for 1. Get to Citi Field this Sunday for Fan Appreciation Weekend and the final regular season home game of 2016 when the Mets play the Phillies. All fans in attendance will receive a 2017 magnetic schedule courtesy of Hyundai. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases in the Mr. Met Dash presented by Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. The change up.
Well, they're all coming up. They're teaching them to change up in the minors. That's for sure.
You think it's because of social media and everyone has the schedule now that we're giving out the schedule so early? I don't remember a magnet schedule at the end of the year for the next season.
No, it's only the last few years that they've announced next year's schedule before this season is over. There's a report out there that the mayor of London has said that Major League Baseball could be playing games in England next year and that the Mets could be part of that.
Tally ho, Keith.
Oh. That is not on your magnetic schedule. That's yet to be determined.
Keith, I'll take you to Mr. Chow's. We'll eat at the table where the Rolling Stones would always eat.
Ron, you're big legging me.
See, I go the other way. I go to those little underpass places where they sell the fish and chips in the newspaper.
Oh yes, very nice, Gary.
That's the great.
Well, we're going to do that too. We'll probably be up a little later.
Michael Caine has a restaurant too.
Yes.
I can't think of the name of it. I've been there. I haven't been to London in a long time.
Alfie's.
I would love to go to London.
What's that all about? 2-2 now to De Aza. You know, our statistician Dave Freed is a veteran of many NFL London forays.
I bet his accent must go over real well there in London with the Queen's English being spoken.
It's the same. Nobody understands him there any better than they do here.
Dave was probably expelled from England.
Curveball pulled down the line. Out. 24-year-old John Gant, born in Savannah. Another Georgia native pitching for the Braves. Rivera at first with 2 out. And Diaz banks one off his leg, a foul ball.
Is that one of the great towns in the U.S., Savannah?
Fantastic. When you think about places outside New York that you'd be willing to live, that's one that's right near the top of the list.
Big time. Good foodie town, too.
I've been to Savannah, and I think it's just charming, southern charm. I've never been to Charleston. I think I'm going to make it there this winter. It's
a great town too.
We'll go there for a weekend and just check it out.
Charleston's very similar to Savannah, just a lot more expensive. Two coming, and Diaz punches one foul.
At some point, you'll be ordering shrimp and grits. Keith.
I'm not a grits guy. No. Not a grits guy. I tried at those Shoney's back in AA. No, thank you.
Yeah,
I think it's a little different.
I think the upscale shrimp and grits in Charleston and Savannah might be a little different.
Well, I was only making
Shoney's.
$500 a month. Shoney's big boy.
With the big wad of butter on the top of it.
What an at-bat by Diaz.
The minor league salary, Gary, you had to make your way through the month.
You know, no self-respecting Southerner would make instant grits. My cousin Benny. Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming to Diaz. And he got him looking. Diaz didn't think so. Chris Siegel rings him up. And that gets Gant through the bottom of the 6th. Colon back to the mound for the 7th with the Mets up 3-0. Exploits of the retiring David Ortiz, only in the sense that he's leaving baseball, not retiring in any other sense. 36 home runs would be the most by any player in his final season. 121 RBIs. It's quite a way to go out. And his team in first place in the American League East. Matt Kemp has flied out and struck out against Colon, who has been right on top of his game tonight. He's allowed just 3 singles through the first 6 innings. No walks, 6 strikeouts. Very reminiscent of his last outing against the Twins last Friday.
What's the stat you gave before, Gary, that we had a graphic? After a loss, 11 starts, he's 7-1 with a 2.06 ERA. Oh. See, but when he hits his chest like that, he's saying to Rivera, my bad, I missed my spot. He was trying to go up and in, and he left it up middle. Every pitch is a new creation for him, to be a new chance for him to be ultra precise.
He's taken that to a whole new level, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Kemp lifts one to right. Granderson ranging over. Across the line and hits the side wall, holds on. He hit that wall hard, but held on to the ball.
Jeez.
Let's see if Curtis is okay. Hit that left shoulder right on the padding as he grabbed it.
Shoulder in his head. See his head hit off that mat?
And this is like your 8:55 wake-up call. Boom. In two hands.
And he needed that other hand to secure it. That ball hit the heel.
Yep. Nice play.
Now it turns out Curtis can take a punch.
Rattle you to your bones.
And he gives the okay sign to Colon, says he's good to go.
But just don't hit it to me for a batter or so.
Well, what it made me think of is when Terry Collins earlier this year was considering moving Granderson to center field part-time, he was saying that he couldn't really play him there all the time because the physical toll that playing center field takes on an older player. Well, the physical toll of that sidewall might have made up for all the days in center field.
And this was, remember, he went through a period this year we had like, you know, a bad calf.
Markakis lifts one down the left side. That'll go out of play.
I'll tell you, as a starting pitcher is concerned, boy, you really feel so great about your teammate when you're in a game like this, a close game, and every out is so important when your outfielder or infielder lays out for you and makes a play like that.
Markakis has flied out and hit a comebacker 0 for 2. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Who was the catcher in Bartolo Colon's first major league start? It was Sandy Alomar Jr.
Makes sense.
A little different from having Junior Ortiz in your first major league start.
Junior. You know.
I know. Junior and I, we had to work on our communication skills.
Junior got a little nervous.
Kind of like you with Dave Freed, to tell you the truth.
I remember interviewing Junior Ortiz when he was with the Mets.
Oh, just couldn't get a nicer kid.
Slap toward the hole, a base hit from Markakis. And the Braves have their fourth hit of the night. Noah Syndergaard shows off his acting range with his audition reel and brings famous movie moments to life on an all-new episode of the SNY.TV digital series The Amazing Life, presented by Coca-Cola. Check it out now on SNY.TV/Coca-Cola. He doesn't do any scenes from My Cousin Vinny in that.
I know you said the My Cousin Vinny line, and I told you once before I'd never seen that movie, so every time you guys say one of the lines I feel stupid because I don't know those lines.
Can we sit you down and watch it, because it's like one of the funniest movies of all time?
I haven't seen it either.
Is that right?
No, I haven't seen it.
That is unbelievable.
I've not seen it.
My Cousin Vinny is in the pantheon.
A pantheon of what?
Of hilarious movie. I mean, you're talking Joe Pesci.
Okay.
Marissa Tomei.
Love Marissa Tomei.
Fred Gwynn.
Fred Gwynn was the judge. I know that. Who was the other lawyer? He was a character actor.
Yeah,
always played the bad guy.
Recognizable.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it either.
There we go.
Well, you're excused. You're a young.
There is
you're a
something
youngster.
really wrong here. Now, I will say this: Steve is very good at catching up on the movies in the Pantheon. And I know that he'll now watch My Cousin Vinny because we've been talking about it. That's drilled out to right field by Recker, chasing Granderson back. It's over his head, and it's out of here. Wow. Anthony Recker with an opposite field 2-run homer against his old team. He takes his former battery mate deep, and he cuts the Mets' lead to 3-2. Recker's second home run of the year for the Braves, as he goes the other way to put the Braves on the board.
Well, Recker, very strong, and we've seen him do that in the Met uniform in the orange and blue. That was a line drive to the opposite field. He went right with it. Belt high up.
And dropped it right in the Mets bullpen.
So here come the Braves, who have been red hot offensively, had been held in check tonight for 6 1/3 by Bartolo Colon. All of a sudden it's a 1-run game, and Addison Reed and Jerry Blevins spring to life in the Mets bullpen. Now Jace Peterson.
Well, there's Markakis.
The runners had no idea that ball left the ballpark.
What's Markakis doing? What is Bo Porter telling him?
I think they were not sure that that was a home run. They thought maybe it had bounced over the wall or something.
Did the umpire make a call?
But you still have to touch the bases the last time I checked.
Wow. Did he touch the base? He didn't touch it the first time?
Peterson grounds one for Rivera, and that's the second out.
Can I see that again, guys? I don't know if the folks at home want to see it, but I sure would. Okay, here's the bomb. There's Markakis in lower left. He did not touch the bag.
Because he wasn't looking.
Bo Porter saying, touch the bag, mate.
And it's a good thing he did before Recker got there, because, you know, if Recker passes him on the bases, that takes the run off the board.
That's right. So heads up by Bo Porter.
There's Dansby Swanson. So Anthony Recker has now hit 18 home runs in his major league career. He had 15 of those as a Met. It's the first one he's ever hit to the opposite field. Ever. And it was a bullet. One-on-one to Swanson, is flied out and struck out. Popped up. Rivera coming over and can't quite get there as it lands in the front row. We may not believe this, but Gary Sanchez just hit another home run.
No.
Okay, give it to him then. Forget about the Twitter question.
19?
Second of the
Take
night,
it off the board.
19 in his first 45 games.
Give it to him.
Never been done before.
Wow.
How about that? That's a great story.
That's just.
I mean, this has gotten beyond, you know, the Kevin Moss, Shane Spencer, Benny Agbayani start to a career thing. This is outrageous what he's doing. 1-2 to Swanson. Just missed.
Oh, come on.
Of course, it's Met fans voting, so you have to take that into account. So it's pretty impressive that almost half of them believe that Gary Sanchez should be Rookie of the
It's the
Year.
only time you have a poll like that, the standard deviation is 25.
Tap or foul. Blake Lally is out on deck for the Braves. He'll pinch hit if Swanson keeps the inning going. The last time that Colon faced the Braves in Atlanta 11 days ago, he was victimized by a couple of home runs that cost him a chance for a win. He wound up with a no decision.
He's given up 22 on the season, which is not a crazy number. It's a you know, for a guy who throws as many strikes as he does, it makes sense.
Just that record home run was so stunning.
Yeah.
Swanson takes one the other way, and he has a base hit to keep the inning going. And now the Braves have the tying run aboard with 2 out.
So we mentioned earlier, Ron, that we noticed that Bartolo was pitching the right-handers away.
Right.
He's been hurt now 3rd time through the order. It's finally like the Braves have finally caught on.
Well, Blake Lally has been announced in the game as a pinch hitter, a left-hand hitter, and Terry Collins looks like he wants to make a double switch, and he's not calling for the left-hander. He's calling for the right-hander, Addison Reed. He'll give Reed a little extra work tonight. Maybe get 4 outs out of him. Michael Conforto's coming in the game as well as the Mets make a double switch, and Colon, who was brilliant coming into this 7th inning, will leave with a skinny 1-run lead. In line for his 15th win of the year if the bullpen can make it stand up. Another terrific performance from Bartolo. The call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon. Addison Reed in to try and get the final out in the top of the 7th. Tying run at first and 2 out. Blake Lally, the pinch hitter, fouls back the first pitch fastball. Curtis Granderson now playing center field. Michael Conforto enters the game, plays right. He'll bat 9th. And Reed will hit in the 6th spot in the order as De Aza came out.
Well, Addison Reed and Familia are going to see a lot of work if the Mets are ahead late in the game. It's just you got to go to your 2 best. You said it before, there might be 1 and 1A as far as MVPs of this team are concerned. You have to ride them down the stretch.
Ball strike in the knees to Lally, and quickly it's 0-2. Lally 1 for 9 in the big leagues this year. Journeyman player.
Basically looking at a 4-out appearance for Mr. Reed.
11 times this year Reed has gone more than 1 inning, so hardly unprecedented. 0-2 coming, and Lally with a late swing foul. We said it last night. Great stat on Addison Reed. He has thrown a higher percentage of pitches ahead in the count than any other pitcher in baseball this year. And here he is again, pitching ahead.
Well, he pitches with no fear. That's one of his great strengths.
Swanson at first with 2 out. And Lolly goes down on the slider to end the inning. So Reed gets the first of what will probably be a 4-out opportunity. That takes us to the 7th inning stretch. Braves get closer on the Wrecker home run, but the Mets lead 3-2. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Tri-Honda. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on 2016 models. By New York Community Bank and the NYCB family of banks. And by Budweiser, the official beer sponsor of the New York Mets. This Bud's for you. Go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Mets lead is now a single run. Loney, Rene Rivera, and Conforto due up against the new Atlanta pitcher Brandon Kniff.
Well, Brandon's had 3 different stints with the Braves this season, but since his recall on September 3rd, 7 consecutive scoreless appearances.
James Loney's 0 for 2 tonight. A blooper to the second baseman and a ground out to first. And he hits one in the air to left field, chasing Kemp back to the warning track near the wall. He makes the catch.
Oh, gee.
Matt Kemp, another terrific catch. This one going away right before it would have struck the fence. The former Gold Glover made 2 diving plays the other night, and now this one.
Another nice play, fearless to the wall.
You know what's interesting? When we saw him go to San Diego, they moved him to right field. I think we all commented he did not look very good or did not have a lot of speed out there. He looked so much better in left.
Well, he's made 3 nice plays in this series.
So Loney driving one well the other way and coming up a little shy on the nice play by Kemp. Now Rivera, who homered his last time up, pops one straight up. Wrecker circling it, and Gaz has it for the second out. So quickly, 2 out. People's United Bank brings you tonight's starters. Ryan Weber gave him the 2-run homer in the first, a solo shot in the 5th, but nothing else. Bartolo Colon gave up the 2-run homer to Wrecker in the 7th. That cut the Met lead to 3-2. Now both teams in their bullpens. Michael Conforto will bat for the first time. Came in on the double switch in the last half inning.
Can't swing here, Keith. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Reed sitting, ready to come out. Do you give him a breather by not swinging?
No, go to ripping.
Okay.
He's a big, strong guy. He got 1 out. Come on. We've been out there for 8 innings.
I couldn't have swung at that anyway.
He's ready. Big shift on Conforto. right side of the infield.
Michael had one at bat last night in the 9th inning against Jim Johnson in a hard comebacker. Slider in for a strike, 1-1.
It's interesting when they went to De Aza for the start today instead of Jay Bruce. I thought maybe Conforto would get a start because he did have a home run against Weber.
Jose Reyes would be next. Mets have had only 5 hits tonight, but home runs by Cabrera and Rene Rivera. Enough so far, but 6 outs left to get. Two and two now to Conforto. Here is your Mets box score, brought to you by the NYCB family of banks.
Mets are. Go ahead, Garrett.
I was going to say 2 more hits for T.J. Rivera tonight.
And they're getting out hit the Mets tonight, 6-5, but not on the runs, the run end. That's all that matters.
Full count now to Conforto. '27-year-old Brandon Kniff out of Cal State San Bernardino. And he walks Conforto. And the Mets have a 2-out base runner. And Jose Reyes will step in. Reyes has had a better night tonight. He's been on base twice. Walked, stole a base, and scored in the first. And an opposite field single in the 5th. We're going to get a pinch runner now. And Juan Lagares is going to run for Michael Conforto, and then Lagares will stay in for defense. This is what Lagares is able to do now. He's able to run. He's able to play the field. Not yet able to hit. So with a 1-run lead late, Terry Collins will take advantage of his speed and defense.
It's the first time he's gotten into a game since he's second time.
Second.
Played 1 inning of defense earlier on this homestand.
And that'll get Granderson back in right field, and Lagares will move to center.
Got a little protection on that left thumb, which was surgically repaired. Want to make sure he doesn't hurt that sliding. So he's got that blue protective device.
Boy, these Braves pitchers are not afraid to throw to first base. Weber and now Kniff.
Reyes cracks one out to left center. Inciarte over there to get it, and that retires the side. A walk in, one left. Addison Reed heads back to the mound for the 8th inning, protecting a 3-2 lead. Garris, after pinch running, stays in the game in center. Curtis Granderson moves back to right. Addison Reed, who got the final out in the 7th, stays on to face the top of the batting order in the 8th. Inciarte, Garcia, and Freeman. Inciarte is 0 for 3 tonight.
Watch for the bunts here.
Reyes playing in close for a rare occasion, and a check swing foul by Inciarte. Well, the Mets are going to keep a lefty ready with Freeman due up 3rd in the inning. And Josh Smoker has begun to loosen up. And they've got Familia up, and he'll get extra work if needed.
That shows you right there. Terry Collins showing a lot of confidence in Smoker, who's done a good job. He walked his last appearance. He walked in a run.
It was against Markakis last night. Quick pitch to Inciarte, and it gets underneath Loney, who was playing right along the line, and Inciarte reaches safely. Loney was positioned perfectly, but that ball just snuck underneath him, and Inciarte reaches on the air.
Right on that line, got in front. Wow, he just muffed it. And the Inciarte puts his hand up. He knows that ball's coming. That should be an E3, huh, Gare?
It is an E3. First error of this series for the Mets. So the tying run is aboard. Inciarte has 15 stolen bases. He's been caught 7 times.
Boy, that changes this inning, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's actually the 2nd error in this game.
Yeah, it is.
Mets alone had one on the errant pickoff throw. Garcia pops one foul. It changes the nature of this inning with Freeman due up next. A must-have out now for Reed, who would love to get the double play ball from Garcia. And now it's 0-2. If you're thinking about a stolen base threat, Reed has not allowed a stolen base on his watch this season.
He's very quick to the plate for a guy that throws this hard. He has a slide step, gets rid of it quick, but Inciarte is definitely a threat.
Two to Garcia, and he fouls back the high fastball. Well, Rene Rivera certainly helps having him behind the plate and his strong arm. He's thrown out 32% this year, which is above average.
That's 32%, including all the games he's caught for Syndergaard, which makes it more difficult. Skews his numbers.
And he backhands that one to keep it from being a wild pitch.
That was supposed to be that inside slider where you throw it at the right-hander's hip, and that's where Rivera was sitting, and he had to reach all the way across his body and backhand it.
Well, Terry Collins is about to have a really hard decision to make after this at bat. 1-2 to Garcia. And time called for it. No matter what the result of this at bat, do you leave in Addison Reed, who's been as effective as any reliever in the game this year, or do you go to a rookie left-hander to try and get Freddie Freeman?
I do. I leave Reed in.
I leave Reed in too.
Garcia hooks one down the line, and that goes foul.
Boy, Garcia's a wild card because he is a free swinger,
right?
Bad ball hitter.
They say he's as good a fastball hitter as anybody in the National League, and that's why this acquisition of Kemp, that they were able to put him in the 2-hole with Freeman behind him. He's been getting more fastballs, and his hitting has just improved immensely. He's a good fastball hitter.
Rivera just went into the mound to talk to Reed, and it might have been to say, hey, just throw him breaking stuff.
Yeah, and bounce it. He'll swing. This helps Terry's decision. Freeman hitting .291, 6 home runs against left-handed pitcher.
Stay with the fastball, but try and keep it away. And first the throw over. Garcia lifts this one foul, and that'll go out of play.
Well, Reed's challenging him.
course, the other choice is to go directly to Familia
For the
5 or 6 out save.
Whoa.
I wouldn't. Reed's been a great 8th inning guy.
Garcia pops it up. Granderson should have it. And he does. 1 out. So now, if you're Terry Collins, what do you do? Terry is heading to the dugout steps, and here he comes.
Wow, okay.
Hesitates.
I am surprised.
And he's going to the lefty. So Josh Smoker is going to come in to the tightest spot that he's experienced in the big leagues to face the hottest hitter in the game in Freddie Freeman, with the tying run at first base in a must-have game for the Mets. So Reed, who faced 3 batters, will exit, and Josh Smoker will have an enormous weight on his shoulders as he comes on. 3-2 Mets in the 8th. Freeman looming. Appearance, Josh Smoker gets a big time assignment.
Big time, maybe the biggest assignment he's had so far, and he's had some big ones. You can throw all the numbers out. This is facing the best hitter on Atlanta, one of the best hitters in the National League who can hit left-handers.
Inciarte, the tying run at first with 1 out. Freeman 1 for 3 tonight. And he hits one off the fist, a little bloop that falls for a base hit. Inciarte will take a turn and hold at second as Lagares comes in quickly to scoop it up. Well, Freeman didn't get much of it, but he got enough. And now the Braves have the tying and go-ahead runs on base.
And here comes Terry with a flip-flop.
And that means Familia is coming into the game to try for a 5-out save.
Well, he jammed him. Not much you can do. Just as strong. The good hitters strong enough to muscle it out.
Threw him 1 pitch, broke his bat, but it worked for Freeman, who has his 2nd hit of the night. And now extra service for Familia. He'll be called upon to try and get 5 outs. 3-2 Mets in the 8th. We'll be right back. Club record this year for Jeurys Familia, 49 saves. He's trying to become the 13th pitcher in history to record 50 saves in a season, and the first one born in the Dominican. He has got some heavy lifting to do tonight to try and get there. He's only had one 5-out save this season. That was back in April against Miami. He'll be asked to get a 5-out save tonight.
5's the number. 5 for 50 as Matt Reynolds comes in on the double switch. Reyes out of the game.
Reynolds hits in the 6th hole, and Familia hits in the 1 spot. Matt Kemp will be the batter. With the tying run Inciarte at second, the go-ahead run Freddie Freeman at first. Kemp is 2 for 3 in his career against Jeurys Familia. Braves were down 3-0. Got a 2-run homer from Anthony Recker in the 7th. Now an error and a base hit have put 2 men aboard in the 8th. And Kemp, first pitch swinging, drives one down the right field line, foul.
Lagares, when the outfield resets here, playing a shallow center field, which is what he likes to do. And that's a go-ahead run at first base. And you've got a guy that's got 30 home runs this year and over 100 RBI.
Kemp's hit 2 balls to right field tonight, one to the warning track, the other that Granderson made that fine catch against the sidewall on. There goes Inciarte. The throw to third by Rivera. Not in time. It's a double steal.
Oh.
Inciarte got a good jump. Rivera's throw a shade high. And now the tying and go-ahead runs are in scoring position.
You know, he got such a great jump. That throw's got to go to second base. If Rivera could have thought ahead of that, Kemp had a lead there. Not Kemp, but Freeman had a lead at first. But the play was at second base. No chance at Inciarte.
And the stolen base has been a thorn in the Mets side.
1-1 to Kemp. The middle infielders will stay back. They'll concede a tying run on a ground ball. And Kemp fouls off the slider, and now it's 1-2. And this is one of those spots where Familia has got to be thinking strikeout. Kemp has struck out 148 times this year.
Well, the Braves have played some baseball in these 3 games, haven't they?
One-two coming. And he fouls away the fastball up and away. 98.
On deck circle is Markakis, a left-hand hitter. Recker behind him, a right-hand hitter. The bench for the Braves on the left side is only Bonifacio and Ruiz.
Ruiz, who has yet to have a big league plate appearance.
And you can dispatch of Kemp. I want nothing to do with Markakis.
Yes.
You got to bend one slider out of the strike zone. I think that's the pitch if you want to get a strikeout.
Again, the 1-2. Off the plate. 2-2. Well, the key play in this inning was the first one. What looked like a routine ground ball that James Loney could not handle for an error, and that opened up the entire inning. Freeman with a soft hit, a double steal, and now Familia pitching with his back against the wall, trying to keep the Mets in the lead.
Little plays in September.
Two and two coming to Kemp. Slider, did he go? He did not.
Oh, and I don't, you know, I didn't think he went, and that's a heck of a take right there. But boy, in the game today, they ring you up almost automatic.
But that was a great take by Kemp.
Sure was.
Difficult pitch.
Well, you have first base open, but that would make the inning so much more complicated because you have the left-hand batting Markakis on deck. Well, Familia does have a little room with which to operate.
Markakis is grounded into 16 double plays this year. So if you're pitching, you cannot give in to Kemp here. you are going for the strikeout, making the perfect pitch, whether it's a slider down and away, whether it's a spot fastball up out of the strike zone, but do not give in to him.
Sacrifice fly is all that's needed to tie this ball game up. As a hitter, you're going up the middle. It makes you more vulnerable in. But is Kemp that kind of hitter? We'll see.
100 RBIs for Kemp for the 4th time in his career. 3-2 the count. Slider, and he wasted it.
Ball 4. But he hung in there.
Slider down and in, a pitch we haven't seen a lot from Familia.
Yeah.
Rivera was sitting in.
Good numbers from Kemp, getting that runner in from third, 63% this year.
Yeah,
8th pitch of the at bat. A little encouragement from Rivera.
Right on.
He wants that sinker in.
And Kemp managed to get a piece of that.
Well, this is a heck of a at bat. The game on the line right here.
I'll tell you one thing. If you have any doubt as a pitcher, Rene Rivera erases it by the way he calls the pitch and the way he implores you to throw it. Let it go.
Now what?
I like the slider down and away. I really do. He checked it once. I don't think he can check it twice, especially after the fastball in.
In the air to left, Inciarte tags. Cespedes makes the catch. Here he comes. The throw by Cespedes offline, and the Braves have tied the game. Kemp with the sacrifice fly. Inciarte comes in to score, and it's now a 3-3 game.
Heck of an at bat by Mr. Kemp. Slider, Ronnie.
I called it.
Off the end of the bat. Breaks his bat, I believe. And not a good throw from Cespedes, which is unusual. And Inciarte runs to a stop sign.
Now, Bo Porter thought that Cespedes' arm was too strong. Inciarte had other ideas, and Inciarte was correct. Now the Mets will walk Markakis and pitch to Recker with the go-ahead run at third and 2 out. So it goes in the books as a blown save for Familia.
The stolen base is what kills. Once again.
I know what Bo Porter was thinking because of the arm of Cespedes, but I think Inciarte was even more intelligent on that play. Why? Because Familia's too tough. You're not going to get another shot. You're going to have to take the shot when you have it.
I agree.
That was a smart play by Inciarte.
Well, if he thought it through, and maybe if both thought it through too, and recognized that there's no way the Mets would then pitch to Markakis, so then you'd have Recker up with 2 out and the bases loaded. And if you're the Braves, you'd much rather have Inciarte's speed and give that a try rather than put in the hands of Recker.
Also, Cespedes was on the run to his right, which made it a little more difficult to square up and make that throw to the plate.
So now Recker gets to face another former battery mate. He put a hurting on Bartolo Colon his last time up with a 2-run opposite field home run to get the Braves on the board. His second home run for the Braves. So Addison Reed is charged with an unearned run to tie up the game. Familia is charged with a blown save. The runner third belongs to Josh Smoker. That's Freeman. Markakis at first with 2 out, and now Recker. And he busts him inside, ball 1. So Colon, who had a 3-0 lead in this game, will now get a no decision. Very much like his last start against the Braves in Atlanta.
And on the back end of that play, very good base running by Freeman to go to third of the throw over the clearly over the cutoff man's head. Now pass ball, he could score a wild pitch or an error.
Recker hits the comebacker, and Familia ends the inning, but not before the Braves get an unearned run to tie the game. Kemp with the sac fly. We go to the bottom of the 8th, tied 3-3. after suffering the blown save. He more than likely will be back out there for the 9th inning, and the Mets hope to get him a lead to work with. For Familia, his 5th blown save of the year against 49 successful ones. Mets have 2, 3, and 4 in the order coming up against Brandon Caniff, Cabrera, Cespedes, and Granderson. Cabrera hit a 2-run homer off Ryan Weber back in the 1st inning. Takes a changeup for a strike.
So we'll see how Mr. Caniff pitches now that he could be the pitcher of record. A lot of guys can pitch when their team is way ahead or they're losing, and then all of a sudden they get in a situation where they're the pitcher of record. They're become a different pitcher. We'll see. That was a good pitch right there. I don't know what, like a strike to me.
Including tonight, the Mets have scored just 24 runs in their last 9 games. They had a 3-0 lead in this one. That's now gone. Cespedes waits on deck. And Cabrera watches outside. 2-1. Ryan Weber went the first 5 innings. He's now off the hook. He allowed 3 runs, 4 hits. John Gant a scoreless 6th. And Caniff survived a ball hit to the wall by Loney that Kemp made a great play on in the 7th. And then Loney's error opened the door, and Kemp drove home the run in the top of the 8th. And Cabrera socks one to deep right center. Back in the gap, Markakis with Inciarte, and Inciarte gets there. 1 out.
Inciarte covers some ground, doesn't he?
Nice player. Did he get in a little bit on Cabrera? Let's take a see. Here's the catch. Didn't get to the warning track, so I got to believe he got in a little bit on him.
It's almost like he hit it a little deep. You know, Keith,
coming in,
didn't get it in front.
Didn't get it in. Wow. Looked like he got in the good part of the bat.
Well, now it's Cespedes, who is overdue. 0 for 11 in this series. Tonight he's flied out and grounded out twice. And he takes outside from Caniff. Cespedes 0 for 3 in his career against this right-hander. Ronnie mentioned it. Caniff struggled earlier in the year, but since his latest call-up, he's been solid.
He's throwing a lot of fastballs on the knees, keeping that ball down. They are just throwing fastballs away and down to Cespedes.
Even up.
Not even trying to change the game plan.
Curtis Granderson on deck.
He's under a lot of right now. He's been popping up a lot. Cespedes.
His hot streaks come with line shots for base hits, and then it starts to steamroll into the ball out of the ballpark.
1-2 from Caniff. And he throws the slider outside. 2-2. Cespedes hits one deep left field. Back goes Kemp to the track. Back at the wall. Leaping. He can't make the catch. Cespedes wasn't running hard, and he'll have to settle for 2 bases. He had stopped at first base as Kemp jumped for that ball. It went in and out of Kemp's glove. And Cespedes winds up at second base with a double.
Well, Kemp, who's made 3 terrific plays, does not make this one. And that ball might have been out. I'm not sure if it would have.
I think it would have hit the top
of the wall. And if Cespedes even has it in 3/4, half speed, he can turn the Jets on when it's dropped and be on third base.
Well, as high as this ball was hit, he has to be on third. Has to. And that's huge with 1 out.
When the ball left the bat, I did not think it was out. He did. He was wrong.
That's a big mistake by Cespedes, and that's a mistake that could cost your team the game, because he should be in a sacrifice fly situation, and now the Mets are not. Now they're going to walk Granderson intentionally and pitch to T.J. Rivera with 2 men on. I understand the posing when the ball's 20 rows deep. I don't understand it when a ball's hit to the fence.
Well, considering how important these games are, in the last week we've seen a dropped humpback liner. We've seen the posing on a ball that stays in the ballpark. Unacceptable? Of course it is.
It's his first hit in the series, but it comes with a caveat. And there's ball 4 to Granderson. So now it's in the hands of T.J. Rivera. And the red-hot Bronx native has 2 more hits tonight. He's got the go-ahead run at second base with 1 out.
You know what I was thinking, Gary and Keith? I was thinking that when players make a mistake, as Cespedes did, and trying to watch that ball go out of the ballpark, a lot of times they try to steal to make up for it.
Snicker on his way to the mound, and he's going to make a pitching change. So Kniff is coming out after an inning and a third, and the Braves will go deeper into their bullpen. 3-3 game in the bottom of the 8th. We'll be right back to Citi Field. '29-year-old Chaz Rowe comes in for the Braves.
Cleaned them off waivers from the Baltimore Orioles, like Brandon Kniff. His last 7 outings have been scoreless.
Cespedes at second, Granderson at first, 1 out. T.J. Rivera 2 for 3 tonight. And a first pitch slider swung and missed, and that is Chaz Rowe's stock in trade. He is a slider king.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a big sweeper.
Yep.
Cespedes double. Granderson was intentionally walked. That's trying to reclaim the lead after the Braves tied it in the top of the inning. And there goes Cespedes. Swung and missed. Double steal. Well, Cespedes should have been on third in the first place. Now he is on third. His third steal of the season. Granderson followed him. His fourth of the year.
Oh, wow, what a jump. And Granderson alertly on the back end.
Remember when Cespedes dropped that ball in left field, he ended up with a big base hit later. When good players make mistakes, they try to make up for it. Cespedes did there.
Now the infield comes in for the Braves. A 2-strike count on Rivera, who's got to put the ball in play here. Kelly Johnson on deck to pinch hit. And TJ reaches out and makes contact on a pitch out of the strike zone. Nothing but sliders from Chaz Rowe.
Boy, this is old-time Atlanta Braves baseball. Remember, the catchers used to sit a foot off the plate.
With Kelly Johnson on deck, Reynolds is due up next. Johnson set to bat for him.
Rowe's got to throw one fastball in, set that slider up.
I would think so. You're right. Staying away.
And TJ strikes out on the slider for the second out. Huge strikeout for Chaz Rowe, and there are 2 men down.
Did not make a mistake with that breaking ball on.
Yeah, I take that back. He was just spot on, and it's impossible. That ball looked like it was down the middle of the plate for 45 feet before it took that left turn.
It's okay.
It's been nerve-wracking. 5 of the Mets' last 7 games have been 1-run games. And they're in another tight one tonight. Brian Snitker's on his way back out to the mound with Kelly Johnson announced into the game. They'll bring a left-hander in. 3-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Another pitching change for the Braves. We'll be right back to Citi Field. And for the second straight night, Eric Campbell will pinch hit against the left-hander, batting for Kelly Johnson, who was announced, and the Braves are going to respond by intentionally walking Campbell and bring James Loney up with the bases loaded.
How about that?
Well, you had to know that was going to happen.
Well, you've still got Kevin Plawecki, Travis d'Arnaud, Gavin Cecchini, and Ty Kelly all available as right-handed pinch hitters, and we'll see whether Terry uses Loney or one of those guys.
I would stay with Loney.
You stay with Loney?
Yep. I think he's all he needs a base hit.
If I did hit someone, I would hit Ty Kelly. And the reason I say that, he has such a good eye. And if Kroll is out of the strike zone at all, he won't be swinging.
We saw Plawecki around the bat rack. Plawecki faced Kroll last night, and remember, he hit the ground ball to third that got through Garcia for an error.
He hit it pretty hard, though.
And there's ball 4. So now the Mets have the bases loaded with 2 out, and Plawecki will bat for Loney.
Well, all the wheels are churning.
Plawecki, his last hit in the major leagues came back in June, and he'll come up here with a chance to get the Mets the lead. A double by Cespedes, an intentional walk, a double steal, and now another intentional walk have loaded the bases.
Well, here comes Roger McDowell to talk and to his pitcher Ian Kroll, give him a scouting report, although he faced him last night. September baseball, it's almost like college spring football game.
Everybody plays. Well, it's been a disappointing year for Plawecki, who, like last year, got significant playing time with the injuries to Travis d'Arnaud. This year, though, unable to hold on to his job when d'Arnaud came back. Rene Rivera had played so well that Kevin wound up back in the minor leagues. And now a September call-up, looking to get a huge hit for his team. He hit 300 at Vegas this year with 8 home runs in 55 games.
Brian's
189 in the big leagues.
Brian Snitker, the manager for the Braves, has a load of right-handers. He can go out there and pull a Kroll.
Nobody throwing in that bullpen.
Yep, no one up.
His 3rd pitcher of the inning. So it's Plawecki against the left-hander Kroll for the 2nd straight night, with Cespedes the go-ahead run at third base. And Plawecki takes inside, ball 1. Ball 2. He almost hit him.
I don't know how that ball didn't hit him. Catch some jersey or something.
Agreed.
You take a pitch here, Keith? No. 2-0. All over the place.
It's a good pitch to hit. You just got to look for your spot. Fastball, correct?
Got the high fastball and swung through it. 2-1.
You know, it's very interesting is that high fastball here might have been a ball. It was. It's a lot more difficult for managers to a lot more on their mind with all this different.
Oh yeah.
The roster's so full.
Mets have 39 active players. 2-1 to Plawecki with the bases loaded and 2 out. And Kevin fouls it off. That one staggered the home plate umpire Chris Siegel. Two to Plawecki.
Boy, just country hardball for me and Kroll, right?
Yeah, you know what you're getting.
Yep.
Two coming. And Plawecki strikes out of the high fastball, and Kroll finds his way through the inning. The Mets leave him loaded after the double by Cespedes. And we go to the 9th with the Mets and Braves still tied at 3. The Mets made a plethora of moves in that 8th inning, but came up empty. Now Jace Peterson leads off the 9th against J. Reed's Familia, who's already been charged with a blown save tonight. Peterson is 0 for 3. Ty Kelly comes in to play third base. He'll hit in the 7 spot. Eric Campbell, who pinch hit, stays in the game at first base.
Scorecards running wild here.
Well, the Mets have issues when they come up in the bottom of the 9th as well that they're going to have to deal with. Peterson 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for 10 in this series. And he pulls one toward the hole, and that'll get through for a base hit. So Peterson with his first hit in the series, and the Braves have the leadoff man on for the 2nd straight inning.
Just nice hitting right there. Right in the hole. In the on-deck circle to pinch hit.
Just a sinker away, and he's able to hook it.
Just stayed up.
It's one of those few hits we see with no shift.
So now Dansby Swanson the batter. Emilio Bonifacio out on deck to pinch hit. So we'll see whether Swanson's asked to bunt. Swanson 1 for 3 tonight. 6 for 12 in this series. Kelly creeping in from third. Swanson showing bunt. And he gets knocked down. It's a foul ball.
Jeez.
The helmet goes flying, but the ball hit the bat. And that'll rock your world. A little scary.
He's all right. What's the trainer out for? Didn't hit him.
He's more shaken than anything.
Shaken, not stirred.
He wears that protective device on the front of his helmet because he got hit in an intra-squad scrimmage right after he signed last year with Arizona.
Kind of hard to stick your nose in there for the second chance at a bunt, isn't it? I'd let him swing away.
Hit and run?
I'd let him swing away.
Can't do it 0-1.
Peterson's got 5 steals, but he's been caught 5 times.
And Swanson shows bunt again. And shows no fear. Gets it down. Campbell thought about second. Throws to first just in time. Kind of lollipop that throw over to Rivera, but gets the out. The sacrifice goes 3-4. Nice job by Swanson to hang in there.
That tells me a lot about Mr. Swanson as he moves forward in his career. That's some big time toughness to stick his nose back in there.
If you come up throwing right now with no hesitation, and Campbell's not a first baseman, you've got the lead runner. But put a little mustard on this throw to first base.
So now the veteran switch hitter Emilio Bonifacio comes up to pinch hit with the go-ahead run at second and 1 out.
When I look at the outfield defense, Cespedes is in. He could be even further in. I think Lagares, for the first time, I very rarely say this, is playing a little too deep in center field.
Especially against Bonifacio, who doesn't have much power. Bonifacio has had only 32 big league at bats this year, hitting 156. We
didn't even talk about Familia. Had a long time to sit in there, didn't he?
Now Familia behind Bonifacio 2-0. Too high, ball 3.
And that's going to get to that dangerous top of the order if he walks this man here.
And Ciarte on deck. Bonifacio has played with 8 different major league teams. His second tour of duty with the Braves. 3-0 from Familia. He takes all the way. It's a strike.
When I think of Emilio Bonifacio as a player, I always think that he's one of the greatest April and May hitters of all time.
Usually find him at the top of the batting leaders 2 weeks into the season. Lifetime .258 hitter.
I'd be taken here. Not me. Bonifacio is just at a full count now.
Bonifacio's had one prior at bat in his career against Familia, and he had a base hit. Ender Inciarte, the on deck batter. He came in with 1 out in the 8th, looking for a 4-out save, but a double steal and a sacrifice fly put a crimp in that. Mets failed to score in the bottom of the 8th, and now Familia just trying to keep it tied with the go-ahead run at second and 1 out. 3-2 to Bonifacio. Slapped in the left center, base hit. Going to third is Peterson. He'll stop there as Cespedes gets it into the cutoff man. So Bonifacio with a pinch hit single, and now the go-ahead run is at third with 1 out, and Inciarte coming up.
What a poor read by Peterson at second base. What a poor read. He's got a score in his ball. It's a soft liner, and he's not sure. He's looking. Now he's going. He's got to get on his horse. There's no question. If you know where the outfielders are, you're not doing that. That's a precious second right there.
Well, given the trepidation Bo Porter had in sending Inciarte home on the sac fly, I'm not sure he would have waved Peterson anyway that time.
Yeah, with 1 out too. A little chip shot there by Bonifacio.
And Cespedes was playing very shallow. In any event, now Inciarte comes up with the go-ahead run at third, and we'll see how the Mets play their infield against the speed of Inciarte. Can you afford to play back for the double play?
I think you got to have your middle infielders in a little bit.
You also have to watch out for the squeeze play.
Yeah, a squeeze, a safety squeeze.
Peterson at third. Bonifacio, who can run, is at first. And Inciarte takes outside, ball 1. Is that a splitter from Familia? That might be the first one we've seen in months.
The problem you have here is that throws a lot of pitches down with that sinker, and big hole between Campbell holding on Bonifacio at first. Bonifacio can run too.
Inciarte 0 for 4 tonight.
Ball 2.
There's a good sinker by Familia, and it's 1-1. Well, Inciarte led off in the 8th inning, hit a ground ball right to Loney, and Loney booted it for an error, and that opened the door for the Braves to get the tying run. And now he's up with a chance to drive in the go-ahead run.
You've got another sacrifice fly situation here. Not an at bat to be over swinging.
And he punts at it and misses. Not a suicide squeeze. Peterson was not coming, but he was ready to charge if that bunt had been gotten down. Got a lot of inexperience on that Mets infield with Kelly at third and Rivera at second and Campbell at first.
Yeah, you don't even need to bunt it. Just bunt it in the vicinity where the pitcher Familia has to go to his left. That's what I would have done.
Now it's 1-2 to Inciarte.
I don't agree with the bunt at all.
Little tapper past the mound. The run's going to score. Rivera gets the out at first, but the Braves take the lead. Wow. Peterson running on the slow ground ball on contact. He comes home with the go-ahead run, and the Mets, who once led this game 3-0, now are down a run in the 9th.
Wow.
Well, for all those that think that the strikeout doesn't mean anything, 2-out hitting, ability to put the ball in play, puts the Braves up front.
Right, precisely.
So Familia, who was charged with a blown save in the 8th, is now on the hook here in the 9th. A single, a sacrifice, a single, and a ground out, producing a run. Now it's Adonis Garcia with Bonifacio at second. It's a slow ground ball. This will be a tough play for Kelly on the charge. Bare hands and fires, and he got him. Side retired. Nice play, Ty Kelly, to get the Mets through the inning. But now the Mets come up in the bottom of the 9th inning, in danger of getting swept by the Braves for a second straight series here at Citi Field. Rene Rivera due to lead off the bottom of the 9th. Mets down 4-3. The last 3 innings to overcome a 3-0 deficit. Now they're poised to try and sweep the Mets and win for a 6th straight time at Citi Field. Emilio Bonifacio stays in and left, and Jim Johnson, who got the save last night, tries for another one tonight.
Yeah, his 16th save. He ended it by striking out Cespedes with a runner on with a big curveball.
Brandon Nimmo will bat for Rene Rivera leading off the bottom of the 9th, and Jay Bruce has come out on deck to bat for Juan Lagares, who's hitting in the 9-hole. And Nimmo takes low and in for ball 1, and then you've got the pitcher spot, so I would assume that would be Lucas Duda behind Bruce, who would be the only left-handed bat left on the Mets bench. Terry Collins started the night with a 13-man bench, but it's not Duda, it's Travis d'Arnaud with a bat in his hands. That's interesting. Nimmo rolls over one and it goes foul. Does that tell you that coming off the injury that the Mets don't have confidence that Duda can swing the bat properly in this spot? WB Mason post-game live follows us here. Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa will have all the information from this game. There's Lucas, who had 2 at-bats on Sunday, his first action since returning from 4 months on the sidelines. 1-1 to Nimmo, hitting .231, and he takes it low. Johnson, a sinker ball pitcher. You got Nimmo, who's got a good eye at the plate.
Boy, oh boy, well, this has been some kind of game.
2-1 coming, and Nimmo hits one toward the middle of the diamond. Base hit! Just underneath Peterson, and the Mets have the tying run aboard. A 17-hop base hit that found the middle of the diamond for Brandon Nimmo.
Excellent job by Nimmo.
Pulled that sinker and got it up the middle. Playing him so much for the pull.
Well, if you're Terry Collins now, you could leave Lagares in to bunt, but I don't think Terry wants to play for the tie because he's already used his best relievers. So he's going to try and play for the win. And he'll use Jay Bruce and hope to find some lightning. Bruce, who was pinch hit for last night, benched tonight, now in there as a pinch hitter, the winning run at the plate. 29 home runs on the season, 24 in 40 games as a Met.
It'd be lovely to see 30.
What a story it would be.
Oh.
And Bruce grounds one foul. The pitcher spot is due up next. Travis d'Arnaud is out on deck to bat for Familia. Bruce is the 21st player the Mets have used tonight. 17 position players. And d'Arnaud will possibly be the 22nd. Nimmo the tying run at first, and Johnson will keep an eye on him.
Doesn't happen very often, Keith, but Dad, you're just almost rooting for him to hit a two-run bomb, aren't you?
No question. Way off the line, Garcia at third base.
Off speed, and Bruce pulls the curveball foul. 0-2. Nimmo's not a big base stealer. He had 7 at Vegas this year. Now Johnson has Bruce in an 0-2 hole. And Jay lays off the curveball. 1-2.
Nice block by Recker. We have seen him do this many times in the orange and blue. He's a good defensive catcher. Smothers that.
One-two coming inside. 2-2.
He's thrown him 2 curveballs. Does he go back to another one, Keith?
Sinker away.
Now the 2-2. And he struck him out. That's the first out of the inning.
Some kind of changeup, or it's the first time he's thrown that pitch in the last 2 days.
So no storybook finish for Jay Bruce.
It was changeup down.
Tough pitch.
So now it's d'Arnaud, who's had difficulties of his own. Travis, who has yet to drive in a run in the month of September, started last night, went 0 for 4. Gets the pinch hitting assignment here with the tying run at first and 1 out. d'Arnaud 0 for 5 in his career against Jim Johnson. And Travis takes inside ball 1. Well, the Mets started the night with 13 players on their bench, and they've used all but 3, and one of them, Wilmer Flores, is unavailable. So that leaves them with 2. And it would appear from the Mets not using Duda in this spot that they're not inclined to use him at all. As Dribble Cabrera waits on deck. Outside 2-0.
3 straight pinch hitters. Never see that during the regular season.
There goes your bench.
Johnson looks a little short from last night. Control's not as good.
Great spot for d'Arnaud ahead of the count 2-0. And Travis pulls one foul. It's been such a strange year for d'Arnaud. Giants have taken the early lead in Los Angeles. Mets and Giants started the day tied. Cardinals lost earlier today. They're at the moment a half game behind both the Mets and Giants. Nimmo the tying run at first with 1 out. One coming outside. d'Arnaud now in another positive hitting spot.
Pitchers don't trust their stuff. They try sometimes to be a little too fine, and that ends up getting them in hitters' counts.
Been 6 weeks since Travis's last home run. Bangs one off his leg. 3-2. Jim Johnson, 23 pitches Monday, 16 Tuesday, and coming right back again tonight. Mets' hottest hitter as Dribble Cabrera stands on deck, and if he were to keep it going, Cespedes would get a turn. But first it's d'Arnaud. 3-2. Do you send Nimmo? Try and stay out of the double play.
I would not.
I'd send him.
He's going, and it's ball 4. And now the tying run is at second base, and the potential winning run is on first with Cabrera coming up.
You know, as a pitcher, you've got to somehow challenge d'Arnaud there because the Thunder's coming up. Not that he wasn't trying to.
Well, this is the guy who's had the best at bats, at bat after at bat after at bat in this series. On base 5 times yesterday, a 2-run homer first time up today. He's also had a line drive out. He's 1 for 4 in this game.
Defense for the Braves in the outfield, almost at no double range, very deep.
The right man's up for the Mets.
Nimmo at second, d'Arnaud at first with 1 out. And Cabrera takes a strike. By the way, if you're thinking about pinch running for d'Arnaud carrying the winning run, you can't. He's your last catcher. Rivera left for a pinch hitter. Plawecki was used earlier.
It's one of those all hands on deck games.
39 players on the bench and you're running out of positions. Funny.
0-1 to Cabrera, and he fouls one straight down. 0-2. Cabrera 3 for 11 in his career against Jim Johnson. Cespedes on deck. Cabrera had a base hit against Johnson last night, a soft single to left that got Cespedes to the plate in the 9th inning in a 1-run game. Mets in the same spot tonight, trying to rally from a run behind against Johnson in the 9th. Nimmo at second, d'Arnaud at first, 1 out. And Cabrera lifts one out to left. Right there is Bonifacio. And that's the 2nd out. And so for the 2nd straight night, it will come down to Johnson against Cespedes with 2 out in the 9th in a 1-run game.
Boy, this is great theater, isn't it?
Johnson struck out Cespedes last night on a 2-2 curveball that produced the ugliest swing we've seen from Cespedes in his tenure as a Met.
But before that curveball, he was challenged by fastball after fastball after fastball.
4 or 5 of them that he dropped the hammer on. So
2 out, 2 on, last of the 9th. Mets down a run. And they've got their big bopper at the plate. Cespedes hit a long double his last time up. 1 for 4 on the night. And a first pitch curveball for a strike. So he starts this at bat the way he finished the last one against Yoenis.
Just a little reminder.
And a good one.
Nimmo at second, d'Arnaud at first with 2 down. And Cespedes cracks one out to center field. Back goes Inciarte to the track at the wall. He brought it back. He made the catch. He took a home run away, and the Braves win the ball game.
Oh my!
Cespedes hit it over the fence. Inciarte brought it back. What could have been a Mets victory turns into a sweep for the Braves as Inciarte saves the day, and the Braves win their 6th straight game at Citi Field and break the Mets' hearts tonight. Inciarte with the game-7 play took a game-winning 3-run homer away from Cespedes to seal the Atlanta win.
Oh my gosh, what a catch. And he ran a long way for this ball. This is stunning. just one fine play in a clutch moment, and that robs of a grand slam. I'm sorry, 3-run homer.
What a series for Inciarte. What a second half for Inciarte. Don't forget, he's the one that had to ground out to Rivera to put a plate the go-ahead run, and now makes this catch.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson saw a loss turn into a win in the webbing of Ender Inciarte's glove, and a heartbreaking loss for the Mets, who had a 3-0 lead. The Braves scored 4 runs in the last 3 innings. Inciarte drove in the go-ahead run and then saved 3 runs with that stunning play to end this game. And if the Mets fall a game short this year, that's one that they will look back on with great regret. Tonight's game summary presented by JetBlue. Bartolo Colon, 6 scoreless innings. Weekend in the 7th, gave up a 2-run homer to Anthony Recker. And the Braves rallied against the Mets bullpen and won this game 4-3 to sweep this 3-game series. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, dedicated to advancing cancer research, treatment, and care. More science, less fear. By Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By Infinity. Visit your local Infinity retailer for a test drive today. And by Astoria Bank, the difference is wanting to make a difference. Visit AstoriaBank.com. Final score tonight, the Braves 4 and the Mets 3. The Braves sweep the series. Now the Mets welcome in the Phillies for the first of 4 tomorrow night with Seth Lugo on the mound against lefty Adam Morgan. Our coverage begins tomorrow at 6 o'clock. What a stunning defeat for the New York Mets as Ender Inciarte robs Yoenis Cespedes of a game-winning 3-run homer for the final out of the night. What a finish, what a great play, and what a truly heartbreaking loss for the New York Mets. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. Time for WB Mason postgame live. Let's join Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa. Guys.